Ladies, gents, and everyone under the sun, welcome back to another episode of the Container Podcast. Today, it's episode 7, and on episode 7, we have a special movie homework to talk about and a surprise topic that's gonna be brought up by none other than Kyle. What's up, my boys?
What up?
What up, everyone?
Hope you've been doing great. And without further ado, we'll talk about nocturnal animals, right, Jacky?
Yeah, so this week's movie homework was Nocturnal Animal, but the three of us, we came across a movie this weekend, and I don't know if you guys heard about it. It's called Borat, and it's the second one, the second Borat.
Borat
And
2, baby.
Borat 2, exactly. And yeah, we watched it, and in the end, we decided we might as well skip the movie homework for this week and speak about Borat because it was very good.
And it was a community experience, right? We were all
Yeah,
on
we watched
Discord.
it together.
It was really cool.
Yeah,
we had
so
we had a
very-
friend, right, that was screaming, "Is this shit real?" And every time I was like, "Yeah, man, it's a documentary."
Shut the fuck up, bitch. We said it 8 times. What don't you understand?
Yeah, every time it was like, "Oh, this is all staged." Well, it's staged. Oh, that's an actor. That's an actor for sure. I'm like, no, it's all real. It's all real. Just trust us. It's all real.
It can't be real. And then we were like, "Yes, it is. Shut up, bro."
But I do think though that there is some scenes that may be like not completely real.
Like the one in Kazakhstan, for example, the intro.
yeah, I think there's stuff where they might just, exaggerate it a bit. So
Yeah, I don't think they were even in Kazakhstan. They picked a village somewhere and they just said, "Well, this is Kazakhstan."
well,
No.
apparently they had a lot of backlash there from the Kazakhstan from the first one. Like they hated it because they made them look like fucking morons. like like poor ignorant racist sexist people. So I think they got pissed off, and apparently it was like a big thing there in that time. So I think they might have not reused in Kazakhstan.
Well, what's the time difference between the release date of the first one and the second?
14 years.
Damn, son. It's a lot
Long
of
time
time.
ago.
It's
Yeah.
a different world we live in now. And speaking of it, the subjects that were at hand were actually very up to date. I was surprised.
Yeah, it was filmed. It must have started filming beginning 2020 and just before. I'm sure if you guys haven't seen it, you guys can skip it. Maybe come back to it after you watched it there, because we're gonna go on pretty heavy
Full
spoilers.
Omega spoiler mode.
We're gonna be talking about the scenes and stuff like that. So
Oh, maybe before Omega spoilers, what's the theme, right? What's the subject matter in Borat 2?
the overarching story.
Yeah,
Like,
a summary, like.
all right, I can go for that. So pretty much after Borat 1, like what I just said there, Kazakhstan didn't like it. They hated it. So he got quote unquote sent to the gulag for life. And while he was there, he's been mining around and living his life. And then after that, they needed somebody to deliver a present to the USA. So they chose Borat, and they want to deliver a special prize, which is Johnny the Monkey.
The Prime Minister or something like that.
No, he's the Minister of Art or something like that, and he's
Art
the
and
best
culture.
porno
Yeah.
and best porno star. I mean, anyways, so it's the story about him going to the US to deliver him, but then stuff happens. He has his daughter with him, and they want to deliver the monkey to Pence, to Michael Pence, the vice president. and that's pretty much the story about the journey going through there and ups and downs, and like you just said, it was based on reality. Like it was stuff that happened that we've been living through, and there was events that happened and stuff like that we're aware of it because they were literally like 2-3 months ago. So
Yup.
that was I really did enjoy that aspect of the movie there, that they had concrete, like stuff that we know. It's not a movie that was made, you know 14 years ago with, it's actually our news, our stuff, our problems, and he addresses them. He makes a mockery of them in certain places and whatnot.
It was excellent. I really was surprised by the quality of the satire and the parodic nature of it all. But yeah, we should shift gears and go into full spoiler mode right now. Jackie,
But
yeah. What did you want to say, Kyle?
there's just one more thing that I wanted to say there. I think, and maybe you guys can comment on that after there, but I think it was a Borat movie. It was Borat 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was not just a Borat movie. It was I forget her name there, but the daughter. I think she was as much of a star and shined almost as bright as Borat. I really think she made me laugh, and I wasn't expecting that from her. I was just expecting, she'd be just, just a plot point to bring stuff forward. But she was actually funny, and she was a good actress. I really, really enjoyed it there. So it's almost like a Borat and daughter movie. It's not just a Borat movie. I found it was
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that she nailed it. I mean, for the entire movie, she didn't break even once, and this is very impressive because she's so young. And we know like Sacha Baron Cohen is very good. Like he never breaks. He's able to keep that straight face or and to stay in character for so long. And her like she jumped in this movie. Never heard of her before, and she didn't even break once. It was great. I mean, she really nailed it. It was
absolutely, man.
impressive. Very impressive.
The Adventures of Borat and Tutur or Tutar. I forgot her name.
yeah. Her real
Tutar.
name is Maria Bakalova,
Oh, okay. So she might
and she's
have some
24.
Eastern, or you know what I mean, from.
Yeah, she's from Bulgaria.
Yeah, okay. Their accent and all, it might be all gibberish, but it was very convincing.
Well, that's the thing, as I think she was speaking like a Slavic language, and I think he was speaking Hebrew half the time. So it was just funny. It's just so funny that they- they're not even talking. They're supposed to be from Kazakhstan, but they don't give a shit. They're just
Yeah, man, they're
talking.
making sounds, bro. Yeah, let's start, Jackie. Can you just tell us what you liked about the introduction sequence?
Oh, I mean, there's the introduction sequence. I mean, me, of course, like what I expect from Borat movie is it's pretty much the pranks.
Yeah,
The when he's interacting with real people. I think that's the most interesting part. When it's scripted, I mean, it's funny and I like it. I love the plot twist from the end. I love like how you know they give us the context and why he's sent to the U.S. and everything. But for me, like the best parts are when he's interacting with real people. So, I mean, as soon as he steps foot in the U.S. and then he goes to the fax machine store, whatever,
my favorite scene, I think, bro. It was so good.
and that guy like he comes back. He comes back to that place so many times, and he's just sending fax, and it's completely insane what he's sending to like the president of Kazakhstan or whatever. And the guy he's just like picking up the pieces of paper and he's writing down whatever bullshit the other guy is saying.
It was
And
like,
he's just
sir, I have a fax to do, please. Yes, what can I write for you? And then he was like, can you write S U P. Yeah, yeah. That is all. They were like doing instant messages, but with facts. It was hilarious, man, and you could see that. I don't know what kind of expression the guy had. That was the shop owner.
He was just, I think he was like in disbelief, like what the hell is happening right now? But I love that scene because it got repeated, and I like that in movies when they take something and they keep it, they redo it, but it just, because you forget about that scene, you're like, okay, it's done, that skit is done. But no, it comes back and it's still as funny. I really love that. Like when they're able to play that fine line of that's too much, it got boring. No, but they continued with it, and I loved it. I found it was it was hilarious. It,
It really
Nothing else to
was.
it. It was just hilarious.
It was superb, man. I was so shocked when the guy was reading out loud. He was like, "Can you please read to me what he sent the fax?" And then he was like, "You have failed your mission, and for this you will die executed by two bulls that will stretch
Yeah.
your limbs and kill you." Right, something like that. And then
So
he
what's
he he reads that the most normally.
yeah, it's just like, yeah, well, that sucks. Did I have a question for you guys?
Yeah.
Did you guys not like anything from the movie? Was there any either jokes or moments where you're like, that didn't land, or you didn't find that funny, or you were expecting more, or something like that?
It wasn't funny to me. It was more of a shock. It was when they were learning proper manners and dance for a higher class people, and the daughter had her period, and yeah, that was a little bit disgusting. But through the disgust, I laughed. I laughed, right? So yeah, that's the most amount of that wasn't so funny. It was a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, as for me, I think I found everything hilarious. It was so funny from the start until the end. I mean, if I had to rate this movie, I think I would give it maybe not a perfect score, because I think the only issue with that movie is that I was maybe expecting a little more, that it was going to go further, because when you've seen Borat, the first one, and when you know Sacha Baron Cohen, you know that he can push, he can go beyond the limit. Every time he does a prank or something, he's able to cross that line. So maybe I was expecting more, but everything was very funny from the start to the end for me.
One of my favorite parts, right, was when they sent the prime minister of Kazakhstan, not the prime minister, the minister of culture and something like that from Kazakhstan, which is a monkey, by cargo. And when they receive the cargo, right, and Borat opens up the crate, and he finds his daughter emerging from it with blood splattered on her face and a dead monkey at the bottom of the crate. And he's like, "Oh my god, what have you done? We must pack her back and send her home," or something like that. And she was like,
Oh
"No,
wow.
daddy, please let me come with you."
Well, this is what I wanted to know, because we spoke about that when we were watching the movie. But the guy that's delivering the box, I mean, is he in on it, or is he just like the
Well,
delivery guy?
that's the thing, is I think the way they explain it is just they go and they don't tell, hey, we're filming Borat. It's not a paid actor or anything. It's just a random delivery guy.
Hmm.
But the way they're filming, and I think they kind of get the idea that it's fake, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah,
real.
yeah.
So
I see what you
they
mean.
kind of go like, eh, you know, like you see that they're a bit uncomfortable, but they're like, this is impossible that it's real, right? So they just go with it. I think that's what is more
Yeah, but I mean, he just like he puts back like the top of the box and he starts nailing it with the hammer.
With a smile on his face almost.
Yeah, like, oh, this is ridiculous, right? Like, I
Yeah.
don't think he would let them, but then he did accept the money at the end.
It was just so funny to me because he was like, why is the monkey like this? And she was like, he ate himself. And then he was like, yeah, that makes sense. And it took him like an hour and a half to realize that she actually ate the monkey.
I think there's only two scenes where I wasn't like, there was one joke that it's not that it was offensive or anything. I found it was just out of place. It was the joke when he goes to get back his ball and chain,
Yeah, yeah,
and he goes, "Can you be my black wife?" And
yeah,
it was just, I didn't find it very funny. It was just like, it was so out of left field. Like, it was, the way the scene was going was like this emotional one, and I think he could have done something better. I think it was a cheap line that, I didn't think it really stuck the landing, because I just found it unfunny. But I'll say that's the only time where I knew it. You were supposed to laugh, and I
yeah.
didn't laugh. That's the
Okay.
only time. And then there's one more, was I didn't find it as funny as I thought it was going to be funny, when he's dressed as Donald Trump and running
Yeah,
with.
it
I was
should
just
have
like,
been a little bit more impactful.
yeah, those were really the only scenes where I didn't laugh or go like, no, what the fuck? Like, those were the only two scenes where I was a bit maybe disappointed. But if not, I think every scene stuck the landing. Every joke stuck the landing. Like, there's not almost one that's. It's just every time you go like, holy shit, this guy has so much. But how can you walk into a synagogue
Oh my
dressed
god, like
like
that,
that,
and say outrageous things like that
and then
also.
be happy when she says, "Yeah, the Holocaust happened." And it's just like, I don't know.
Oh, I am so
And
relieved.
and he's a
But
Jew, like, he's a Jewish. And it's like, I don't know, the I find the amount of balls and just self restraint. I would be laughing. I don't know,
Yeah,
like,
man, he's
I wouldn't be able
incredible.
to. I wouldn't be able to keep a straight face.
I
yeah,
have
but
to agree with you on the Donald Trump part. I share that sentiment. It wasn't the best. And as for the would you be my black wife? The way I understood it is that back in his country, where you talk with someone like that, right, and you have a heartfelt discussion, the reflex is to propose. Like there is no in between, right? It's like,
It could
okay,
be.
do you want to make it official, right? And she's like, what? No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
yeah,
What?
but
Wait,
Yeah,
I think
Jackie, go.
we yeah, I think we should give a shout out to, like, there are some people in this documentary or movie, you can call it whatever you want, but I mean there are some people that say horrible things and do horrible things in this movie. But I mean, that lady and the two
oh yeah.
ladies in the synagogue, I mean, big shout out to them. They're very nice people, and I mean, especially the two ladies in the synagogue. I mean, he has like all this disgusting disguise of all the racist and anti-Semitic stereotypical jokes about Jewish people, and he enters the synagogue with this, and they just like welcome him with open arms, and they give him food and everything. So
Yeah, they
I mean,
feed him, and he came
yeah,
with hate.
yeah, that's I mean that was very touching. I really like that scene. I mean, it shows that these people are. I mean, they're not like the others that you give them rage and they're just going to build up on it. I mean,
Mm.
they just took him in, and I don't know. I really like that moment.
Yeah,
But
Yeah,
man.
because it was funny, but it
Grandmas,
was heartfelt.
exactly.
yeah,
Just, and that's what I like about his movies. Sacha Baron Cohen is, he does jokes and laughs about people, but there's always like a little thing that slides in to tell you, for example, like that or whatnot. It's just like a lesson, like, not everything is that bad. There is some nice people. Like for
One of my
example,
favorite sequence. It was when the COVID hits, right? And he's like, "There's
with the
nobody in
two
the
idiots
streets.
there.
There is nobody in the streets. What is going on?" And then you see, what's his name? I forgot his name, but he's supposed to be a typical redneck, right? And he's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, man, the COVID, we have to respect social distancing. Everybody's at home." And then he's like, "But I have nowhere to go. Can I go with you?" And he's like, "Sure."
Okay.
Something like that. Bro. And then they go together into his home and they meet up with his fellow redneck. And they share with him everything, right? Their opinion, their culture, and they find themselves agreeing a lot on some things. And the way they agreed was played in a way that was superbly funny and effective.
The way, I don't know, like if this is really like not fake, right?
Yeah.
Holy shit, they're able to improvise on the fly. They would have had him being in that house, right? And then they magically put a video of the daughter on the website, so they stumble on it and they go to, like, that's fucked. I find, like, it's
And everything felt so authentic, right? The video was on a website they love, which was QAnon. And QAnon is known for conspiracy theories and bringing together these kinds of people, right? It all clicked like super well. It was really funny. And then they began singing a song and creating lyrics, right?
America, he hated.
Like for me, I have to say, like this sequence of from the part that they write the song to the part where he sings it in front of the convention or whatever. I don't like
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
yeah,
gathering,
yeah.
like of
Anti-maskers.
Yeah.
We want to be free, right?
yeah, alt right people.
Yeah.
I mean, they had the Confederate flag there, so I'll say all right people. I just love the way, like, he's going up the stairs to the stage, and the guy's like, "Are you like that guy?" And he switches to this accent. He's like,
He's like, "Are you Country Joe?" And
Yeah.
he speaks with a fat Kazakhstan accent, and then
he
But
switches and
I think that it was planned that he was Country Joe. Like I think he went on, and the people that were making the movie actually, like, no,
signed him up for that.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, I think they did. But like the funny part, I think, is it's when he asks him, and he just goes, "You damn right I am."
you
And he
bet
goes,
your ass I am.
yeah.
It was amazing, man.
And I just
Yeah.
like, and he took the song that he wrote with the guys, and he
Yeah.
sang it to the people, and
And they
um,
loved it.
it was, oh my god, it was such an horrible song to sing. Oh my goodness! And
Let's saw them like the Saudis.
Yeah.
I
Should
swear
we
that,
chop him up like the Saudis too? Or should we
oh
do something? It was rhyming, right? And
Yeah, gas them like like the Jews or something. You're just like, what the fuck? Like, how I don't get it, how these people exist, and or the scene with the baby.
oh,
Oh, that was incredible. That was incredible.
oh,
We
when he
don't.
goes for the abortion, right?
yeah.
Oh
We don't do that here.
Man, it all started from a cake, bro. And the cake joke was pretty good. He was like, "No, no, no. In our country, women, we don't gift them cakes or anything."
Yeah, exactly.
And then he's like, "You know what? I'll make an exception. Okay, I'll get you this, but you'll have to eat it away from everyone's eyes and well hidden, right?" and then she chokes on some kind of plastic little baby statue that's on top of the, how do you call that, a cupcake,
Yeah,
Yeah.
cupcake.
bro. And then he's like, yeah, we have to go to the doctor. That scene, bro. That scene was simply incredible. Because the language they used was exactly what happened. It's what it is what transpired, right? The dad hid his girl and made her eat a cake, right? And now she has a baby in her stomach and it hurts and they want it out, right? And
Yes.
the more they spoke like that, the more you were like, bro, this sounds awfully a lot like an abortion. And then he
Well,
was like,
that's they knew exactly what they were doing there. They
yeah.
went to.
And he was like,
Um,
wait a second, did you say she was your daughter? Yes. Yeah, yes, I said this. And you, did you say he's your father? Yes. And then he was like, oh my god, he was completely shocked. And then he was like, so can we get rid of the baby? And then he's like, you know, God made life
oh
and
my
we
god, yeah.
can't do this. And it has a heart, it's beating and everything. And he's like, no, 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 I'm telling you, no heart. There is no heart. No, no, not alive. And you can see like the kind of rhetoric from both the pro-lifers and the pro-choice, and it was just hilarious.
Yeah, yeah, it was. I was laughing. I couldn't stop laughing at that. That was one of the funniest scenes in the whole movie. There, I was just laughing and
It
laughing.
was too good, and they were like, yeah, can you pull the baby out right now? And he's like, I can't do that. I can't do that. It was just too good. Once they extract, no, they don't extract it. Oh my god, we have to talk about how they get rid of the baby. If someone wants to talk about that.
Oh, when they're in the bathroom and they're
Yup.
like let's flush it.
You can hear her squirming and screaming, right? And he's like,
Yeah.
don't worry, push, push, we're gonna get rid of it, or something like that. And then he's like, there you go, the baby is out now.
Flush it, flush it.
And you had people just right the next stall and everything hearing all this shit, and they were horrified and confused.
They just wanted to buy a cake to make a joke, and look at that. 3 scenes come after that. You know,
Yeah.
I find that phenomenal. Like I'm sure that they've probably, you know, like when they were buying a cage, they probably went through 3 stores and just picked the one that had the best reaction or stuff like
Exactly.
that,
Yes, yes.
right? So I do think that they probably had maybe like, you know, they were doing another sketch or something, and but nothing went after that, you know, nothing like snowballed after that, but this did, and that's why they kept that, you know. So I like that, you know, from my perspective it looks like it was completely like unplanned and they decided to go for it. Maybe it was planned, I don't know, but
But it
it was.
all felt very natural, right?
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I liked about it.
You spoke about the cage. Do you want to talk about it, Jackie?
I mean, Cage. Me, one of the things that I find uh, incredible, like literally incredible in the movie, is the amount of time that they're like facing someone and he's saying something so horrible, and that is like you should have a red flag like in the instant, and they just go with it. I mean, he's like, yeah, I'll have to. I would like to get cage for my daughter, and the guy's like, yeah, sure, come back with me in the back of the store, and like there's a cage, and he's like, oh, and usually how many people can you put in the cage? And the guy's like, oh, about like one. He's just going with it, and the number of times that this happened, I think like when he bought the gun, and what else? I mean, with the Uber driver, and when he's speaking with the guy,
That
and
was
he's like,
funny with the
Oh,
Uber driver there.
I kind of
Like,
forgot. Can you guys remind me?
he wasn't even in there. It's just that they called an Uber driver and they filmed the scene with the Uber driver just in front while they were arguing about
Yes!
touching their vaginas and everything.
This was such a crazy scene, right? Because every daughter comes with its instruction manual from the Ministry of Kazakhstan. And in that instruction manuals are plenty of crazy shit and lies that make it legitimate to control uh, your daughter, right? And then you show that and you're like, yeah, this is the ministry, it's legit. And as you can see, you can't do this, you can't do that, or else horrible things will happen. Let's say women driving a car. That was like the first thing. It's like impossible. She couldn't even imagine a woman driving a car. And the list went on, right? That was part of the story before the big Uber scene.
And even the scene where she goes and masturbates and then comes back into the room and she's like, bro, you guys have to try it. The women are like, what the fuck?
Yeah, we haven't said, right, but that scene was absolutely crazy because it all starts off by you can't drive, and then she sees someone visibly drive, a female, right? And she's like,
Yeah, she sees
I
someone driving.
cannot believe this. Then she asks
She sees
other
a-
people, do you drive? Do you drive? Yes, I drive. I drive 2 cars, 3, right? In the end, right, after seeing many examples of how the book lied to her, she goes ahead and takes her courage with her both of her hands and goes to the bathroom. And that's the scene that Kyle was talking about. And she goes on stage and says, I have something to say. And then they're like, go, girl, go. You can go ahead. And she embarrasses the hell out of all of them. But then they realize it's not that embarrassing. It's actually really pure, if you see what I mean. It's very innocent.
And that's why I think she does such a good job is you look at her talk and you're like, oh shit, it really does look like, she's, like just figured out masturbation and she's like amazed by it, just wants to share it to someone. It really
That she's
does
not
just
gonna
look,
die. Yeah, we forgot that part because if you
yeah, she's gonna get sucked in her asshole.
with teeth or something like that.
That was funny.
When I think about it, it's actually an old legend, right? It actually exists. I
from where?
actually I think I heard it, right? The teething genitalia, right?
Ah, yeah. Okay, well, that's okay. Yeah, I thought you heard the legend of the girls, if they put their hands inside of it, they're going to
Oh
get
no
sucked
no
up.
no no no! I haven't heard about this one.
Yeah, I was like, me too. I haven't heard of that, but
So yeah, I think we reached a point where she became a journalist and decided that she was gonna live her own life.
Yes, yes, because she wants to give herself to well, she has a change of heart in the end because after she refuses to do the surgery for the breast implants, she this movie is great. I mean, every time you're trying to tell the story to someone else, it's completely ridiculous the way the story goes.
I
But yeah, after,
cracked laughing trying to give a quick summary to someone multiple times. Impossible not to laugh while reminiscing.
oh my god, it's so over the top. It's so funny. They did such a great job. But yeah, so she refuses to do the breast implants, and then she goes for big man Giuliani.
Oh my, that scene.
That was
If it's real, that guy's career is over.
no, I don't think his career is over. I mean, there's worse shit that came out, and he's still going on, no problem. So
That's kind of true.
I think Sacha Baron Cohen and like the team of Borat, I think they were just on the right spot on the line. They were just walking that thin line and not going like too far, so that in the end, people can, because when you see the movie, it's obvious what's going on. I think we can all agree on that. I
Yeah,
don't know what you
man.
guys.
He was about to go to PP land.
Yeah, well, it surely looked like it, but like they stopped it before, so they're just walking that thin line, and they're just it's obvious for everyone. We saw it, but nothing actually really happened. But we know that if if Baron Cohen had not stopped it, maybe the story would be different.
It
Yeah.
was kind of scary, man. But at the same time,
That was
she
shocking too.
was baiting him into doing something shady, right?
Yeah, honestly, I think like I know what you mean when you say baiting, uh, but
Because
like
she, like, how can I say, right? It's kind of strange to do these gestures to a man in a bedroom. I was really taken aback. I was like, what the fuck is she doing? She's playing with fire, but without displaying her true intentions, if you see what I mean.
yeah, but I like I said, I know what you mean by baiting, but in the end, I don't think that anyone should like fall for that bait. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, man,
Because
I mean, exactly.
especially like I know he's not a political figure or anything, right? He's just a lawyer of the president, but I'm sure he got briefed on how, for example, you know, to look out for honey traps, like
Yeah, yeah.
honey pots, I think is the expression, where it's like women trying to seduce you and everything to get info out of you. Like, how, I don't get it, how you can be there sitting and there's this girl that speaks with a Russian accent and you think, yeah, no problem. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, it tells a lot. I think.
I
I
mean,
mean,
she's been right. I don't know. I'm not gonna put anything on her in terms of behavior because you should be able to compliment and to place your hand on someone's shoulder or someone's knee, right? And it not devolving into what it was about to be, a fucking nightmare. So yeah, that's on him, man. I'm not gonna put more than what I said on the journalist, right?
No, absolutely.
yeah. Well, oh my god. I mean, this is. I mean, like for personal, like for my personal opinion of that is that for my taste, I think that it would have been better to go with the prank further and like to just
You
go
wanted
not
him to pull off his
yeah, no, not but
he was
I
about
wanted
to, man. He was reaching
like
for it.
yeah, but that's like I didn't want it. I didn't want like them to go like the full way. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, I wanted to go to like that line where there's no coming back for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like he pulls actually down his pants.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's no doubt from that point on.
It
And
would be
he's
hilarious, right? He pulls down his pants and then they storm into the room and he begins to run with his pants down, trips and falls. That would be incredible.
Yeah.
Oh no!
mayor of New York, right? He was
Yeah,
mayor.
during 9/11,
Jeez,
Boy, oh boy.
that's
fallen from grace.
yeah.
The movie doesn't end like that though.
No, it
No,
ends that Borat was the first spreader of COVID-19.
Because, yup, you guessed it, the government injected him with the virus, and China wasn't involved. It was all Kazakhstan as
Yeah.
a revenge on the
well, I
whole
swear, like
world.
this part was to me this part was unbelievable. I mean, from the first day that they spoke about the coronavirus, they were like, "This is from Wuhan, China." Well, turns out it was Kazakhstan all along.
Yup,
We were all
you
we're all
shouldn't
fooled.
have her, like, how to humiliated the Kazakhstan people. That's what you get.
Yeah. But you see, I the first time when he gets injected, remember?
Mm-hmm.
I would have paid no thought whatsoever on that scene. But when we were watching it, we have a friend that was there who who is let's say sometimes a bit lost in movies and doesn't listen,
Mm-hmm.
and he was just like, wait, what did they inject? I didn't understand that. And I just went and I was rethinking about it.
Silence.
I'm like, and then I think Jackie, you had said it's gypsy, or somebody had said it was gypsy tears or something like that. But I just found it was so random, and they just put that thing in like they just mentioned it, and I was like, that's gonna, for whatever reason, I would, in my head I was like, that's gonna come back for whatever, I don't know why, but I guess, like, who is it? I think it's Alfred Hitchcock, who says
Mm-hmm.
something like, you show something, like it has to pay off, and that's what I had in my mind. But then I completely forgot about it when the movie was going on till the end. I was like, oh
Oh
shit,
my
that's actually
god.
fucking smart what they did. Really, like
Yeah.
I found it.
I was caught so much off guard because I thought that they were just administrating vaccines that came out during the 14 years where he was in the gulag just to spruce up his immune system or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know when they shot the movie, but I think it goes well in like the political and the world environment right now. It's so relevant for the moment. It's incredible. I mean, and I don't think it's like just chance that they released it just before the election in the U.S. I think
Oh,
there's a, I think there's a political statement uh, of them, releasing it just before the election, because like we're what, 1 week before the U.S. election. I
I
think
guess
there's
so.
something
I'm
there.
not too.
Yeah, November 3rd, pretty soon.
Yeah,
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 man.
yeah.
It's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna have the bomb like effect that we might think, but I do think that everyone that sees the movie will have their minds changed, at least a little bit.
I mean,
Well,
it shows a portrait of America, I think, and it's the story of the people of America. Because of course, like Kyle said, I think it was, I didn't think about it, but now that he said it, of course, like the sequence with the cage, like they didn't go to like the first store that they saw and they went in, and that was their like they filmed it, and it was a wrap up. I think
Yep.
like as he said, they went to many stores, and afterwards they picked the best, the best reaction. And of course, like this is what we can think, but in the end, like these people, like the mass that we saw,
The
the
concert.
yeah, the concert for the alt right, and the ballroom where they danced, and she had a period during the dance. I mean, all those people, they're real people, and they have these strange reaction, and I think it shows that there is a problem in this society, and yeah, some people are fucked up.
Some people are fucked up. Wow.
Yeah,
yeah, like the guy that says, Borat goes, how much is my daughter worth? And
yeah,
he's like,
exactly.
oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
500. And then the daughter goes like, what the?
you disgust me.
Oh my goodness.
If you guys wanna say
Yeah,
anything else before we wrap it up and move on,
yeah. I just, again, I'm gonna reiterate that I loved the movie. It was fun. I rewatched the first one beforehand, and I still think the first one is better, just because it was just so different than what we're used to, right?
hmm,
But I still think that the second one is just almost as good. They're almost on the same level, and I really, really, really enjoyed this movie. I laughed a lot, and I'm gonna rewatch it for sure.
as for myself, I am the imposter because I haven't watched the first Borat movie.
Oh, you have to. You have to.
So I think it was actually pretty good, the second one, and I do believe that their plans got changed maybe not for the better, but they got absolutely changed with COVID. But they still managed to do something pretty cool, man. So
Yeah,
I would recommend it to for people to watch it. And to me, if you guys have a similar background, I wouldn't watch it with my parents. If you haven't already guessed by every spoiler we just said, so
Yeah, and yeah, for myself, I think I would say the same thing as you guys. I mean, I recommend this movie. Everyone should watch it. It's an amazing movie. It's funny, and I think it gives a lot to think about. And this is what I appreciate in movies is that, of course, like you laugh a lot. I mean, from the start till the end, you laugh a lot because it's so funny and it's so hilarious, and it seems so unreal, like how the people react and the way they're presented the situation and the way they respond. It's unbelievable how sometimes it's ridiculous, but there are moments where you just stand there and you just watch what's going on, and it's so absurd that you're not able to laugh anymore. You just stare at, at what you see, and you try to comprehend what's going on and how these people can act the way that they do.
perfect. So I think if you guys want, what we can do is switch to the surprise subject of the week.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
gosh, I love surprises.
All right, so we can uh, go on and so I was the one that was tasked to find maybe a subject that we can speak about that could be interesting and that maybe a bit different or something like that. Well, anyways, that's what I was trying to aim for. And we spoke a lot about video games in the last podcast or something, and I wanted to try to find something that was maybe a bit different. And so it's gonna be, I think, surprising coming from me especially, but we're gonna talk about something that is um, it's a reality in sports. It's a sport topic,
Ooh,
Okay,
and
all right.
yeah, so uh, I'd say maybe 2 years ago, I've really got into Formula One. Now, maybe people can say that it's not a sport, whatever. I still think it's a motorsport, so I'll consider it as a sport. So I think it'll come into play. So I've been really into it, and recently they've been trying to do quite important changes in Formula One, right? And it was supposed to be changed for 2020, sorry, 2021, I think. But unfortunately, because of COVID and everything, they had to delay those changes. And the changes that they were installing was a cost cap, right?
a
So
cost
right,
cap, okay.
yeah. So for now, all the teams, they have 10 teams, and none of them can have limits. If you want to put $1 billion in your team, you go right ahead, right? There's no limit. So there's big teams like Ferrari and Mercedes and Red Bull who are putting 300, 400, 500 million dollars in their team. And there's these lower teams who are, of course, as you guessed it, don't have as much budget. So of course they have a harder time to compete. So pretty much what I would like to talk about is a cost cap, or I know you guys are maybe not familiar with Formula One, and that's fine. That's why I think it's still a subject that can transfer to other sports with being a salary cap or something like that. So I have here, a couple questions, and I can start maybe by giving my opinion, and then maybe we can go around, say if you agree or not. Like, if you agree with having a salary cap, and you think they're important or they're not, they're useless, and whatnot, and then we can maybe discuss on it and whatnot.
It seems to be a really cool subject, and like you said, it ties with sports in general. So maybe we don't follow Formula One, but we do follow other sports, and we see these discrepancies in budget. So yeah, go ahead.
All right, so maybe people could figure it out from the way I was talking, but I'm for that. I'm for cost caps. I think that they level the playing field. They make it that everybody can have their fair chance, right? Some teams, some cities have maybe less income just because they have less people, and why shouldn't they have the chance to compete with the bigger teams? Uh, so that's pretty much it there. I just want everybody to be on the level playing field. However, I do see that there is, let's say, some arguments against a salary cap or a cost cap. So, if ever you guys agree with the salary cap, I can, let's say, play devil's advocate and talk about as if I was for it, against it. Sorry, it's hard to figure out what against or for it, but yeah, against a salary cap.
Okay, Jacky, why don't you lead?
Well, okay. So just to be sure, because I'm very new to Formula One, I don't know a lot about it, but from what I understand, what you're saying is that okay, so you have this cost cap, which basically says, well, you cannot invest as much money as you want in your team. You have to like remain below a certain level, and so this way, like everyone can compete at the same level and invest the same maximum amount of money in the team. That's right.
Pretty much exactly. But so the difference between, let's say, Formula One and other sports is
Hmm.
that um, it still does tend to other sports there, but Formula One, you have two big components. You have your car and your driver, right? So there's a lot of money that's put into developing your car, getting it better, getting it faster, more aerodynamic, and whatnot. So you get the best people, the best engineers, the best everything, right? And the people who have more money are gonna attract the better people, right? But also the driver. So cost cap would eliminate just the spending on the car, not the driver. So driver, you can still pay him millions of dollars. It doesn't matter. But all the teams will have a, I think it's 200 million budget cap. So
So,
there's teams right now that only spend 150 to 180, but there are a lot of teams that are spending more than that 200. So
yeah.
it's going to be exciting to see. But like that's why I said it also lends to other sports, because in Formula One you have those two big, and stuff. You have your car and your driver. But in a non, let's say, a basketball team, you don't have a car. You have nothing to invest and have engineers thinking up new. Sure, maybe you have plays and stuff like that, but you don't have a car. You don't have a $400 million car, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't. But so that's why I say cost cap slash also salary cap, because I see it as the same way. Because for Formula One, it's the car. For basketball, football, whatever, it's the product, the thing they're competing with is the actual people, not the car.
My
Yeah, I
question
understand.
is it combined, the general cost, the salary of the driver and the cost of
There are,
research and development for the car?
so there it's completely separated.
It's
So
separated, okay.
yes,
And we're talking about something that would limit only the research and development of the car.
yeah, exactly.
So, okay, I have my own reservations, but go ahead, Jackie.
Yeah, I don't think that they should put a cost cap. I mean, if you have the the money to invest in your engineering team and to build up a more performant car, I don't think that the rules should provide you from building a better car. It doesn't like seem right. I don't know why they would put that. Is it just like to level down everyone so that they are the same level? But then it's uninteresting. Everyone is I
Because
think if you can invest more money inside your car because you have more if you have more money, because I mean it didn't drop from the heaven. Like this money they build their companies. When you speak about companies like Ferrari and yeah, so that
Mercedes. Yep.
yeah, Mercedes. I mean, if they want to invest in their engineering team and build a better car, why not?
because in a situation like right now, what's happening is you only have 1 to 2 teams that are competing for championships. The rest are just trying to be the best of the rest.
Yeah.
So they're competing for fifth and sixth place, right? They're not competing for first. They know, because Mercedes have won, I think, the last 7 years. So as you can see, there's a dominance, right? It's as if, for example, I don't know,
A
the
soccer club
yeah,
maintains
like
dominance
Milan,
over.
right? AC Milan wins for the last 7 years, right? That's I think the point that they're a
Well,
lot
I
of.
think that's too
Feels
irrealistic.
great, man.
Yeah, I know
Feels
it's
great.
no. It seems unimaginable. I don't think that we can go with that example. I think you would have to take a better example. But yeah, I
Well,
understand
yeah,
what you mean, though.
but it's just saying there's this over dominance, and the dominance has a direct correlation with
The means they put
the
into.
means how much money is it. It's as simple as you want a better theme, you put more money. That's because you're gonna have better engineers. You're gonna have more time to do testing. Not more time, but just more resources to do. You're gonna have the best wind tunnel. You're gonna have the best computer software. You're just gonna have better everything. So everybody starts with just a bit less. They have a
But they
bit less.
like Mercedes. They're like they have the more amount of money
Well,
that they
yeah,
invest.
of course, because there's little teams like, for example, Alfa Romeo or will these other teams. You wouldn't know them there by their names, because they're just names of people that were building cars, but they're not actual companies that sell cars. You see,
Don't
Mercedes,
Red Bull have one?
yeah, but Red Bull, they're a huge company. Then you have this little company, for example, called Haas, HAAS.
Yeah.
And it's owned by this American businessman that decided that he wanted to invest in it. But he doesn't have the money, he doesn't have the resources to compete against these big multi-million dollar companies and stuff like that. And so I get your point that it's too bad, just put more money. But I just find that right now in the sport, for a fact that Lewis Hamilton is going to win number one because he's good, yeah, but mostly also because of his car.
He has the
If he was
best.
in if he was in a different car, too bad. You're not good enough.
It's kind
Yeah,
of
but
like in soccer, right? In football, where you have teams that are funded by governments. Like you have PSG that is funded by Qatar. You have Real Madrid that is founded by the King of Spain. So the kind of money you get there is huge, and some other little towns don't benefit from that budget. And if you don't have the means to buy the best players and the best coach, how do you want to get to the top? That's the parallel I'm making.
That's my main point. Where,
I understand
where
it well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly that. Like, for example, like you just said, Madrid and everything. They have the more fans, they have the bigger stadium, so they get more money constantly, and they have big investors and that are backing them up, and that brings to them attracting bigger talents and stuff like that. Like, do you think that Messi would have went to, I don't know, Montreal Impact? No, he wouldn't go there
Impossible. It would be
because
a waste of his talents.
they don't have them exactly. But if everybody had, like in hockey, right, where everybody is on the same level playing field, where they have a certain amount of money, and that's it. They have to be smart about it. They have to do good trades and everything. It's not just the team that has
Oh,
the most amount of money that
so
wins.
that's really interesting, right? Like you would be able to buy Messi, but the rest of the players would be trash. Or you could buy an evenly distributed team and a average coach.
Exactly. So that's why you have to juggle and be smart about it. You don't have to look into those details. You just there's a problem, throw money at it.
Exactly.
It's not universal. It can happen that there's little problems here and there that money can't fix. But most of the time you can fix it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, there's a goaler that is garbage. Fuck it, throw him in the garbage. Who gives a shit? And pick up somebody that is better. Because who cares? We have millions of dollars to do that.
Yeah. Well, you see, after debating like this, I believe that I'm on your side and I would like a cap. But I would like a general cap that even the driver are capped too. That means like for every team, you would have a set amount of money you could spend for a season or a year, and you can choose to invest a lot in your car and not too much on your driver, or you could choose to spend a lot on your driver and not too much on the car, or something like that, right? I think that dynamic is really cool.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I don't think it's the same because sport is pretty much different. Of course, there's like an unpredictable element also in F1, but you know when you look at a team like you spoke about PSG and they went to the Champions League final last year, well last season, not last year, but in the end when they faced the Bayern Munich, they didn't manage to win, although they had bigger players and they paid for their team a bigger amount of money. But it's because it's unpredictable in sports like that. And when I look at F1 and you speak about this cost gap, not cost gap, cost cap, it seems to me that if you want to invest in your engineering team a lot of money, it does not guarantee that you're going to have a better car. If your engineering team is better and they are more efficient and they have more um, if if they're more skilled, I think this is what's going to make the difference.
Yeah,
And I
but
think that
So
the small
what you
team,
said is exactly what we want for the sport. If everyone has to spend the same amount of money, it's then that you will see who can make the most out of this money.
no, I think you should advance the amount of money that you want. I just think that the smaller teams should just like be better. I mean, the engineers should like just
yeah,
develop
but
their better.
let's say you're a team, right?
How
And
Yeah.
can yeah, continue.
you're fighting against a team that has literally double your budget.
More
So
than double.
for example, when you crash a car, right, in F1, it costs a shitload of money, right? So
Yeah.
comp little teams can go, fuck, this is gonna set us back. We have to cut. We can't spend as much money now on R&D because we crashed, right? Somebody crashed into us and we have to rebuild the car. So that's $2 million down the drain. We have to rebuild. Now, for example, Mercedes or Ferrari, somebody crashes their car, who gives a shit, right? They have 400 million. They have double. They can crash.
For fun.
They can crash every weekend if they want, and it wouldn't do anything to them because they have double the budget compared to these smaller teams, right? So
What do you mean? Like they crash? Like they don't crash on purpose when they're
no, I'm not saying they
driving?
No,
crash on, but I'm saying they could. Like for example,
I don't get what you're saying. Why would they crash their own car?
I'm
we're
not.
telling you that on the off chance that someone tries to tell you, when you're just behind the guy and then tries to go ahead of you and hits you and breaks something that will cost you $2 million, Ferrari is gonna be like, yeah, sure, no problem. But the other team is gonna be, yeah, top head engineer, I'm sorry, bro, you gotta go.
We don't have enough money for you. We don't have enough sponsors for you.
That's what we mean, right?
Okay, but then the problem is not okay. But then the problem is not in the gap. It's the problem is in the salary of the team.
Well, no,
You-
no,
I-
no, no. He was giving an example here, but let's say, for example, it's well. For example, I'll give you they crash. The shittiest team right now is called Williams, right? So we'll use them as example.
Shout out to Williams.
For you.
In F1.
You fucking garbage of a team. I've never seen something like that. Anyways, so Williams, right? They're driving along. Somebody crashes into them, and they're like, "Shit, right? This is gonna cost us $1 million to fix this problem." Well, that $1 million is $1 million less that they can use to do their research and development in the off season. So during the off season, when they're doing tests and stuff like that, they're like, okay, well, let's try this new alloy or whatever, this new wing or this new whatever mortar. Well, they can't because they physically just don't have the money to do that. But Mercedes, they crash. It's the same thing, but for them, there's no problem because they have a bigger budget.
Now you understand?
No, I don't understand.
Okay.
don't-
I'm gonna tell you, right? I'm gonna tell you with a football analogy. Let's say you
No,
pick
I
a
don't
team
work.
like
No.
FC Barcelona, and then you put them against Levante, right? Levante
Yeah.
is a little city, doesn't have a big club, doesn't have the history that Barcelona has, the influence, the fans, and mainly the money, because it's all about money in the end. And without all these money, that money, you can't invest in your how can we say, in your school, the one that you train your younger players to form them, your youth academy. That's right. You can't try to attract elite talent to your club. You can't fund construction of a bigger stadium where you can host more people and get more ticket sale and revenue. You see what I mean? And then you have Barcelona that already has the infrastructure, that already has that reach, that prestige, and has the money to spend. It's like night and day, and both are playing in the League One, which is like F1 and F2, the top league, but they're still a world apart. They can't compete for the top place. They have to fight for their
Exactly.
lives.
I don't get it. It's not the same. It's not the same because when you're speaking about football, it's just like the two teams are playing on the pitch, and at one point Levante can win. They can win
Yeah,
the match.
but statistically, right? In Formula One, it's the same thing. There's 22 races per year, and it happens that sometimes Lewis Hamilton in his Mercedes, he crashes, and they lost that race, right? They get 0 points. But throughout the season, Mercedes, because it's the consistency. They have more resources. Their car is just better. It's objectively better.
It goes faster. It does everything better.
And it's the same thing, I think, in football, where if you have those two teams, right? Sure, it can happen. It does happen, right? Like when
You're
was
like,
it?
oh my god, the upset! They did it. Nobody thought.
Like remember and is it the Premier League there in 2015 2016 there, Leicester City or something
Yeah,
like that?
Leicester City.
That they win. I don't think they were supposed to win, right? But they did win.
The
And it was
crazy
just-
thing, right, is like they went through the season, which is like 30 matches, and in the end they were first. It was
Exactly.
like incredible, never heard before.
Okay, maybe that's not a good example because
Success
it's not
story, and it
it's
happened
not-
like once in 2,200 years, right?
Yeah, but you see, exactly. It happened one time in I don't know how many years that city won, which the betting was what, 40,000 to 1, right?
Yeah, it
So-
was insane. You could become millionaire out of it.
So when there's that much of an upset, like a team like Barcelona or whatever that is gonna go and walk onto the pitch, there is a possibility that they lose. But deep down, that they're gonna win, and like, oh yeah, there might be an upset. But
Yeah,
throughout the whole year,
Exactly. There are 32 races, or
Yeah.
or I don't know how many.
No, but it's just okay. Look, it's because when you speak about football teams, it's the players on the pitch that make difference. It's when the players are playing against other players, and
Yeah,
what
but
happens
the more money that they have, the better players they attract. Don't you agree?
the more money that they have, the more better players they
If
attract. No,
if
not,
if
not
if if
necessarily.
Madrid had the uh, how you call it,
The
the
budget?
budget of like the Montreal Impact,
Mhm.
do
Would
you
would
think
they
they would
would
have?
they have won 3 Champions League in a row?
No, you're right.
That's it's like that. It's if you don't have money, how the hell are you supposed to compete? And with a cost cap or a salary cap, which in my eyes, I see it as the same thing because I translate car and driver as the same thing as being a player in a football match because it's the same thing. It's just that they're instead of investing in a player, they're investing in a car and a driver. So it's two things.
Yeah, but you're telling me like Mercedes, the fact is that they have a better car and they have a better driver. So why shouldn't they win?
I don't think that I have no problem for them winning, but right
That's
now,
all we see, and it's not
it,
gonna
it
change because
for the past 7 years, they're just dumping more and more money. So for sure having the best drivers is a good thing, right? But if you would take Lewis Hamilton, who is almost he's on the same level as Michael Schumacher, right? Same level,
absolute
right?
legend, my favorite racer of all time.
But Hamilton just beat him on Sunday for the most wins of all time, right? So he has more Grand Prix wins, Hamilton, than Schumacher. So it just shows you how crazy that is, right?
Crazy.
And and the reason why is because he's in Mercedes. If he was if Lewis Hamilton was in Williams, there's no way that he would be winning. No, 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 no way. There's
You see, that's the difference. That's the difference because why wouldn't he win? Because William has a fucking trash car. That's why
because they have a shit budget.
Yeah, but they in the end it's okay. Well, you say it's because of budget. I think it's also because of the engineering team and the well
Well,
in the
no,
end
no,
what they
but if you have less money, do you think you're going to be attracting the best engineers?
Yeah, the top talents are behind high salaries.
No, but okay. What you see, what happens usually in football is that you have like a small team like Leicester, for example. We spoke about them. They won the league one time, and you know what happened afterwards? The players started to go to go to other teams, and this is what happens. You say, well, Real Madrid they win because they have better players and because they have more money, but I mean, there was a point where all the teams were like almost the same, and the Real Madrid players were better and they just started to win. And when you win, you get more money, and when you get more money, you can buy more players from other teams. But the players from other teams, when they leave their club, they're diminishing the value of the team that they're leaving because they're the better player and they're going to the
Yeah, but
stronger
they're
team.
maybe being traded for another player that is equal or better or just a different opportunity or like a
Yeah,
different position or something like
yeah,
that.
but this can become complicated if we think about exchanges. But let's like for the sake of the argument, let's talk about like the player that you buy and then you sell.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so what happens is that when a player leaves the team, and if he's a good player and he leaves the team that he leaves is diminished, and it becomes weaker. And this is why there are no other teams that are coming from the big teams usually. Like in Spain, it's Barcelona and Real Madrid. In England, it's like Chelsea, Manchester United, Liverpool, Man City. Like these are the big teams. And because when players are coming from smaller clubs, they don't want to be in the smaller club. They just want to switch to the bigger team, and that's why they're winning. But in the F1, a good engineer could come on a low budget team, and if he designs a good enough car, he's going to be able to win against Mercedes because even though he has a small budget, he has the budget to make his car, and
Yeah,
he's able
but
to
but
to
but that's the
perform.
thing is he can maybe be the smartest person in the world and be able to create, for example, the best front wing in the world, right? But that doesn't mean that there's those the other engineers that you paid that are going to be able to develop the best rear wing in the world, right? So you can get lucky, you can get, but that it through those 30, well, 20 races, you're gonna maybe you win one, right? Maybe you win one, but at the end of it,
How
you
many
you
points
just
did you get?
you just got fucking lucky on that. You there's when you look at, and that's what I find, it's just if you look at who wins like the Champions League or the world,
Grand Prix?
the Grand Prix and everything, or better yet the world champion, right, ship, where it's who gets the most points at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
When you work with a system like that, well, of course, it's going to be Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull that are going to be on top. Because they just have more resources, not just people, but actual components. They just have everything that is just it's more advantage for them. And this is my biggest criticism of not having that a cost cap. It doesn't lead to any competitive. It come to competition. When you open up a race on Sunday and you look and you see, okay, Lewis Hamilton is number one, Bottas, which is his teammate in Mercedes, is on number two, and Verstappen, which is the driver at Red Bull, he's on number three. And when they're qualifying, you go, okay, well, why should I even watch this? Because I know for a fact that most likely it can happen. It has happened this season that didn't happen, right? But most of the time it's those that are winning. It's those that are winning. And I think I can make the same argument for football, where who's winning the Champion League?
The
It,
Champions League is almost every time it's won by the best club in the country, in whatever country in Europe, right?
exactly. But who are those teams that get to the finals, semifinals? Is it these little teams, these teams that don't have any competition or something, like that they're not competitive because they don't even have the chance to get there because they're not as good. I know it sucks to say, but if everybody had a cost cap, then every team starts on the same leg.
Yeah,
Like,
it would be like asking a football team that has the best shoes around, the goalkeeper has the best gloves, they are on very strict nutrition, they train professionally, versus a team that doesn't even have shoes and that plays for like plays for fun or something like that. Almost.
yeah, like us three against Madrid, like
And then you're like,
it,
damn, bro, if you saw that 500th time we went against Madrid and we actually did 1-1 and we took a point, and we were like, yeah, man, it was the craziest day of my life because just doing 1-1 and drawing was unthinkable because of the gap between us and them. That's how I think about the F1 problem right now. You can't even think about winning because you said, oh, you might have the best engineer, right? Well, the best engineer will do, like he said, part of the car, top tier, best in the world, and the rest not so good, or at least not the best. And the other teams that have more money are on average more performant than you on every single part of that car. And they have the money to pay for the best driver. So that combo is extremely good. And then the season is ending, and they're like, yo, we did our research, and this guy from the lower team, he designed that piece of the car. We need him in our team. How much money do you want? That's how it works, man. I'm sure that's how it works.
But that's a problem. Problem is that the guy is going to switch from. I mean, it's a problem, but I get it. I mean, you go for the money, but I mean that's the problem. The problem is not. I think that there is no cost cap.
wow.
I think the problem is that you're switching from one team to the other, and of course, what happens is that it's I mean, it cannot be a coincidence that everyone is going into the like everyone is going into the team that pays the most, and then we look at them and we like, oh well, now they're so good now. What can we do? I mean, if all the engineers go all to that team and they don't go for the lower teams, of course they're never going to win.
And that's the problem. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, but I don't see why it comes to the cost gap. I think it's just
Because
So
then you
what's
would
the
have to
reason?
choose, right? You would have to choose. Do I need my engineers, my top tier engineers that I can't sustain with that cost cap? Or do I want to pay for Vettel, right? I really need that driver. He won us so much. Even with a lesser car, we believe in him. And the team would have to make a tough choice.
yeah. I guess I see what you mean. I think what they should do is just maybe separate categories and just have like one competition where everyone goes and go on full budget.
Jackie. It's just like in Spain. Every time you're like, who is going to win this year, the championship? Is it going to be Real Madrid or Barcelona? But there are like 20 teams in the league. Why every year we think about only these two? You see what I mean? And then you're like, yeah, just play in another category. Well, there is a League 2, and the League 2 has another 20 teams. And at the end of the season, the worst of the League 1 goes down, and the best of the League 2 comes up. But do you think that the best of the League 2 can win against Real Madrid and Barcelona? No chance whatsoever. If they can only hope to stay in League 1. That's how money rules the sports.
Exactly.
I guess I see. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Can
I
you
see what you
explain also, Kyle, about the system of promotion and demotion in F1?
So there's well, it's different on each team, right? So there's a couple teams, for example, Red Bull and Ferrari, where they have junior teams, right? So they have teams that are, for example, in Formula One, right? So you have, for example, you have Red Bull, and they have a junior team. Well, they say junior team, but it's not called that.
They're
It's a different
pros,
team.
right? They're
Yeah,
pros.
they're pros, and for example, Red Bull has one called AlphaTauri. So uh, it's two teams, separate teams, but Red Bull owns both of them, right? So one is completely garbage because they don't have good budgets or anything like that, but the main team is much better. They have, it's a better car and everything like that. But they're still two different entities, but they're owned by Red Bull.
Okay.
So there is promotion like that, and if not, of course, a lot of times it's they go and get it from Formula Two. They'll go get a young person or whatnot, and go and get it. And that's how they promote people to drivers and stuff like that.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's what you meant there.
Yeah, I mean, could a team go down to Formula 2?
No, they just disappear. So
Oh shit.
there's 10 teams. If one team just can't afford to continue, they they sell off their team and somebody else buys it.
And if a F2 team gains enough money, they can invest to promote themselves through money to F1?
Well, usually the teams that are in F2 like don't have the money for F1.
They
Like,
can't dream about going to
I
F1.
mean, it's just more expensive. They could maybe do it, but I'm just saying it's different. Like in Formula 2, they have, they have different teams. They even have actual junior teams where Ferrari owns, like, or Renault owns, a team in Formula 2 and whatnot.
Okay.
So they sometimes do that, but most of the time it's just if it's not teams that transfer from F2 to F1, it's really the drivers that do that.
Okay.
You usually it's just the owners of the teams that change. For example, um, 3 years ago there was this team called Force India, and it was owned by this rich guy in India for a couple years, and he got busted doing some pretty illegal shit. So he couldn't be a owner of a F1 team anymore. So somebody from Montreal, a Canadian, bought that team and renamed it Racing Point. So teams do change, but they usually still keep the same personnel, the same facilities, and everything like that. So when you're buying a team, you're pretty much known that you're buying a team that is trash or good. Like there's no
Yeah.
in between.
And yeah, it seems that it's even less. It's like you really know before a season even begins who is going to compete for top one, top two, and
But
who
yeah,
is going to try and
exactly,
survive.
exactly. That's why I think, for example, if any of you, both of you, decide that you guys want to watch 1 point F1 or something like that,
Yeah.
right now I think it's really not the best time to get into the sport because
COVID?
of because of this situation where it's always the same ones that are winning and it's boring. If you open your TV and you know who's gonna win, why the hell do you want to watch it, right?
I see what you
So
mean.
so
Maybe
that's
for
why.
the art, right? Because one argument that Jackie could have taken was I'm against the um, cost cap because I want to see F1 pushed as far as it can be pushed in terms of
Of how far.
technologically
Yeah.
and things like that.
Yeah,
Just
well,
like just like I would say, right? I'm for teams like Real Madrid and Barcelona because I want to see the top talents work together and produce some amazing football.
yeah, well, this is what I had in mind when I said, they should, if they want to put all the money they want into the engineers and design the best car they want, I think yeah, they should go ahead and do it. But I see your point. I see what you mean, and yeah, I understand
But
how it's.
I do agree. You see, that's why in the beginning I said my opinion, right? But I said if you guys both agreed, I would argue against it,
Yeah,
and that's why there's that little part of me that's still like, ugh, because I agree with what you said about being the case that, well, you want to see the peak performance, right? The peak car. You want to see them. You don't want to give them limitation. You want to, and I'll be honest. There's one thing that I love about sports is, and I'll be honest. Sometimes I watch, compilations on YouTube of stuff. It's where these underdogs win,
yeah,
right? When, oh my god, I love that. When there's exactly that the video the situation about Leicester City, right?
yep.
Seeing that is wow. It gives you like goosebumps. Or for example, when was it?
Which is crazy, Lester, man.
This year, or the in 2008, Vettel was in a shit team, like the shit, a crap team, but he by the grace of God, through coincidence and just pure sheer good luck and of course talent, was able to win first place in a race, in a Grand Prix. And it's just so satisfying to see that, to see these top teams put millions of dollars in that little team that doesn't have much money, and just slip in there and win. Just win. In Formula One, it's just win one there. But for example, in 2015 and 16, Leicester City wins, right?
Yep.
So it's just so impressive. I find that these smaller teams that, or I don't know if you guys seen that movie there, Moneyball.
I haven't, but I heard about it.
But
Isn't it
it's pretty
about
much,
statistics and sports?
yeah, it's pretty much a guy that owned but is a manager for a team that is not doing so well and they don't have much money, but he uses a different approach, a different way of thinking, being creative, and uses statistics and just pure math to determine who he should trade and he should acquire, and he doesn't use the old ways and whatnot, and was able to have, I think it was the one of the biggest games won back to back in ever, right, in baseball. So I love seeing that, and I think if you maybe put a cost cap or something like that,
More
that
of
won't
these
happen
stories. Yeah.
because everybody will be on the same playing field and whatnot. But so that
But
that was my one of my main things. And also, if you look at hockey, right, I find it's hockey have a cost cap, right? And what they do is just, for example, Montreal Canadiens will be good for 1 or 2 years, and then stuff changes. Trades, people get hurt, whatnot, and then it's a different team that comes into this period and whatnot. So it just, instead of it being one team that dominates for 10 years, it interchanges. But I do like that because it adds competition, right? It just
Yeah.
That's what I like about it. So
Has
I'm
it
torn on the idea.
has it ever happened in F1 where a story like Leicester happens, where they don't only win a game, they win multiple games into uh, being crowned the champions, right?
I think now I haven't been watching Formula One for forever, right? So I can't tell you in the 70s or 60s or 80s or whatnot. I think that the only time that happened was Vettel. I don't know if you guys know who that is
Yeah,
there, but he's a pretty big racing driver. He won 4 championships with Red Bull. I think his first season, people were maybe not, they thought that he was a good contender, but I don't think they thought he was gonna maybe really win. Again, I don't really am familiar with those years there, so I'm not sure. But in the last 10 years, that has not happened. That
okay.
a team or whatnot that was lower than what you thought. It's always the same ones that win. It's either Red Bull, Ferrari, or Mercedes. McLaren happened in the past, but that's pretty much it.
Yup.
So it's I find it just, without that cost cap, it's so hard to compete, and it can make the sport less interesting. And pretty much all I wanted to mention, to talk about, to see what you guys would think and maybe help me decide a bit if I agree with it or not. Because like I said, I'm torn on the idea. I think maybe it has a bit more benefit having a cost cap, but I still think that there's positive with not having it. So I'm torn on it yet again.
I think maybe it's better for the teams that are involved, but it's less interesting for the spectators.
But you see, I would say even maybe
Yeah, that's
the
arguable.
yeah, because I think it's more interesting to, for example, not know who's gonna win in advance than know who's gonna win in advance. No.
Yeah,
What do
maybe
you value more, peak performance or unpredictability?
like I said, I just think like they should do like separate categories. You should have like this.
The teams that have more than 200 millions in a category, the
No,
teams
no, I
that
think
have.
you should do like competitions where you have like you go full budget. You can go crazy. You go your full budget. There's no limit, and then you have like these competitions where it's restrained and you can only spend a
Yeah,
certain
but
amount.
then the top drivers are not gonna go to that fair
Yeah,
I,
like
I
price.
don't know. I don't know to enough. I think to say, but for me,
But for
they should go
example,
to both of them.
Take football. What would
Yeah,
Messi go to Montreal Impact?
but it's me. I don't agree with that comparison because it's not the same. It's not the same football and
it's not the same, that's true. But you would have to precise in what way you don't think it's comparable.
okay. Okay. You know what they should do? They should do like this. 1 year you have like a cap, and then the next year you don't have a cap, and then you switch like that 1 year after the other.
Do
Yeah,
you
but then
you really think that teams that have like 10 times the amount invested don't have enough advance that they'll keep it if you restrain them for the next season?
I'm sorry. What? What do you mean?
What I mean is that if we take a team that has
Yeah.
invested so much that they have peak technology, and you have another team that doesn't, and you live in a world that things already happened, there is a history, so they'll take their history with them, and that means that the season where it's capped, There's already
Oh,
that backing of all those
yeah, but
years of work.
yeah, well, that's it's too late for that. I mean, even if you put the cap for Mercedes, they already have like a huge amount of money invested in their technology, so they can use some pieces that they have developed, and the money is already invested,
That's
so they just
true.
have to
That's
take.
true. Yep.
So like it's too late for that. And I think it's the same for the European football clubs. But yeah,
What I believe would be that those scientists would switch teams because they want to be paid well and they don't have enough money with the cap to pay them the salary they want, so that they will get evenly distributed between the teams or something like that.
yeah, maybe you should put like a cap for the engineers, like for the engineer's salary, but then they can go full budget for the pieces and the equipment and the parts that they use for the cars.
I don't know what's the benefit in that. Do you think?
That you have like you can acquire a good engineer and that you're then well I think the problem is in the people. The people would just go like, oh, I won't go to the smaller teams because they don't have the budget to build a nice car, so I'll go with the bigger teams.
Yeah,
So you'll
that's what I'm saying, right? You're like, yeah,
yeah
okay, you cap them in their salary, but then you tell them, bro, if you stay with us, you'll be able to play with all the marbles.
yeah. But you know what's the thing? I think I just think for myself. I don't think like for the others. But yeah, I sure like think people would go like, oh, I'll go with the team with the best budget, like the biggest budget, so that we have more chances to win this way.
Yeah, but for example, you were an engineer, right? And
Yeah.
you'll get the chance. You go, do you want to work for Mercedes or Ferrari, or do you want to work for Renault?
Well, there are many reasons why I don't want to work for Renault, but it's not because
No,
they are
because
smaller
exactly,
than.
it's not as prestigious. It's not
You
as
want to leave your name, your mark with that big
But
team.
it's also French and
okay, but forget about that. Pick I don't know another team.
Alfa Romeo.
McLaren, or yeah.
Yeah, Alfa Romeo or
Yeah,
or or
I would like to go actually because I love these stories of the like you said the underdogs that just manage with less resources to beat like the Goliath companies
My man
and
wants the
get
challenge.
victory. Yeah, I want the challenge and I want the story afterwards. You can tell the story as if you go to Mercedes and you just like, well, we had this big ass budget and then we just spend shitloads of money on the car and then it ran by itself. We didn't even need the pilot. We took a shitty pilot and it did the job. I mean, I don't want that story. I want like we we suffered. We had limited resources, but we managed to beat these big companies because of our will and our discipline.
And
There
then
you go.
next season, when they'll come and they'll tell you, bro, we heard about your exploits.
Yeah,
Here's the contract. Wanna come with us, the big boys?
yeah, but it's
I'll
also
take the
that
check.
exactly. You'll take the check. You'll jump ship.
Yeah, of course I'll jump shit for sure.
I swear to God, I don't understand you.
It's for the thrill of the first time. The first time you win, and then afterwards, yeah. Well, you
It's
cannot
like
stay with a
okay, now
shitty
it's
team forever. Yeah,
paycheck.
no, yeah, yeah. I mean, you have your story from that moment. Like you did go with the underdogs. You help them. You give them their moment in the sun, and then afterwards, well, it's time for the money because you gotta pay the bills.
Like, okay,
Anyway,
now get fucked, you know? Stay down, baby.
Never again. You'll never get that again. Ciao, bye.
Glad to have made your history, but it ends with me.
yeah, but what I think really, what presently, what's why it's everybody is against it, like unanimously. I haven't heard anybody against it there, against the cost cap, especially in F1. It's just that it's now that the Mercedes has such a big advantage that their car from last year would be able to compete and even beat people
That's
from
what I
this
told
year.
Jacky. And he said,
So
"Oh no," or something like that.
Well, they
legit.
worked so hard on that car, and they managed to create a car that is going to last for years and years. I mean, gotta give them credit for that. They can reuse the car.
But they
Yeah,
won't. They will improve on it.
Yeah,
exactly.
well,
They won't just go, okay, we'll let the other teams catch up. No, 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 no. They're gonna gain two a second more each lap because of their new improvements, and it's
okay. Well, I guess we would have to see. I mean, just try it. Try to put the cap.
well,
Like, try it
it's
for
gonna
one
happen
time.
there. So in 20, so I think it was postponed to 2022 there because of COVID and everything. There, they're
Mm-hmm.
leaving more teams have,
Yep.
and I did forget to mention that. It would have been maybe a bit relevant, but the top teams, what happens is if you're number one, you get a bigger percentage of the winning. So in terms of money, so they get, for Mercedes and Ferrari, get maybe when they win 1-2, right? They get 100 to 150 million dollars, while the shitty teams get 20 million dollars, right? So it even adds to this dynamic that top teams stay in the top and shitty teams stay shit.
Sounds like something else, but yeah.
It does sound like it. I appreciate how we think alike.
Oh yeah. Do you hear that music? You
I
hear the
do.
music?
I do.
Oh god.
What is it? Maybe out of the loop.
Oh god.
We're just talking about the hammer and sickle.
Yeah. That the national anthem of the people, the working people.
We're having a good laugh because it really sounds like the same struggle. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
the approach with a salary cap would be in our chords, let's say.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Is
I
there?
think I think we should see. I think we should see. And if they manage to put that in place, I would be interested to see the results, because I think that Mercedes would still they would still win, or like the other big teams like Ferrari or Red
Yeah.
Bull,
Well,
because
I
the
think.
expertise is there.
Yeah, I think. Well, Ferrari this year, they're actually quite shit. They're number seven, I think, or something
Oh my
ridiculous.
god, how far they fell!
Because last year they got caught cheating, so they had to use an old engine. So now their engine runs like a fucking Honda Civic.
This is bad.
Yeah, so rip Ferrari, right?
What a legendary team, man. In French, what I like about the way we describe F1 teams is that we call them écurie, which is like
Yeah,
the.
stable.
Yeah, exactly, for the horses. And it kind of sounds, I don't know, mystical or something.
It's a fun sport, especially when you get into. If ever you guys want to get into it and you don't really know how, I'll tell you how I got into it. I was bored late on a, I don't know, Sunday afternoon, whatever, didn't know what the hell to watch. And on Netflix, there was this documentary called, it's not a documentary, it's a documentary series,
Hmm.
and it's called Drive to Survive. And what they pretty much do is, I don't know, 8, 10 episodes, whatever. And it's just cameras that are on the paddocks, and they just follow the stories. They follow the drama, they follow the races, and each episode is like almost its own race. They sometimes skip races that are boring or they have no content, but you go through different teams and you see their struggles and the way they think, the way their races goes and whatnot. And it was super interesting that I subscribed to I started watching YouTube videos, and then I got lost in the world, and now I love it and I find it super interesting. The only thing, like I said, is it's it just sucks for the other teams because you know that there's this also expression that he uses. You have Formula One, and then you have Formula 1.5.
Oh,
And Formula 1.5 is everybody that is not Red Bull, Mercedes, and Ferrari. So
yep.
so they're competing in their own other a different league in the same league.
I see exactly what you mean.
So that's why they said best of the rest.
I really enjoyed your story about how you got into Formula One as a whole, and I would give it a try, but I don't really know where to start, right? If you have some links, we can put it into the description and let people get into the sport, just like
Yeah, sure. I can give a couple YouTubers and what to actually watch on Netflix that is interesting, that will at least make you look at, because I've before I watched that, I swear, apart from I got a book I remember when I was younger on Formula One, I had never ever followed it. I never watched a race in my life. And then now it's every Sunday I'm super excited because I know that there's gonna be a race and there's gonna be action and I'll be able to do stuff. So I recommend everything. I recommend the sport to everybody. Sorry.
we got you.
I'll go on and say what the movie homework from last week is gonna be next week's. So the one that we were supposed to do today is gonna be for next week. So if you've watched it, you're in luck. If you haven't, go ahead and watch it. And
That's
it's
me.
nocturnal, same thing, and it's nocturnal animals.
Noted. Can I find it on Netflix?
I don't think so.
Well, we'll find it some other way.
Yeah, exactly, through the high seas of the Caribbean.
The power of the internet.
All right, so I think that's pretty much the end.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to the podcast. 7 episodes strongs. And we'll keep on going, man. So shout outs to Jacky. That's been with me since day one. Shout outs to
Yeah.
Kyle. That's joined us for the majority now. And yeah, I hope that the journey is still a long way to go. So thanks a lot, guys, for the support and for your time and ears. Until next
Bye-bye.
time. Bye bye.